Hi friends, my name is EstPs, also known as Host Eric, and I am the host of Talking with Famous People. I don't know if you're aware of this, but today is International Typology Day. I've declared it such. Google tried to tell me it was International Small Businesses Day. It's International Typology Day. It's the one day a year where you get to choose your type, just for a day. Today I'll be wildly vacillating between ISFP, INTP. No, I do have the authority, email anthrax. I'm the holiday making man. I declared myself that. If Google can declare International Business Day, then I can declare it International Typology Day. And I have made a holiday. You should not be at work today, by the way. This is a holiday from work. Even the banks should be closed. What if you're not sure about your real type? Well, congratulations. Here on International Typology Day, you get to choose your type. You get to be that today, just today, but that's the beauty of International Typology Day. The rest of the days of the year, you have to be your actual type, but today you can be whatever type you want. I think I might just stick with the ENTP. I don't know. Answer the question more seriously, Beetlejuice. If you actually aren't sure about your type, and you've been thinking about it for a long time, there's a decent chance you're any tool. That typically correlates with INFP, INTPs, where they have a hard time coming to a decision about their type. Well, that's not a sure and fine rule or anything. It's just a tendency. Well, the present Winston's mom for International Typology Day is that everybody gets to choose their type today. That's the present. If you choose ESFJ, you'll probably have to give some presents too, but you could always choose some non-FE type. Pedro Castro. What does that mean? Line, parentheses, apostrophe, triangle, apostrophe, parentheses, line. ISTPs are boring. You don't want to be an ISTP. Okay, I'm going to smoke my first bong for the day now. INFJs and INFPs are extremely different from each other. Yes, Pedro. Not only does it have to mean something, it has to mean everything. So you better get out your definition pencil. Start defining shit. Why would you want to be more boring than stoic? I want to be less boring and more childlike. But Eric, you're already so childlike. Not childlike enough, God damn it. Not childlike enough. It's the same thing. Correct and not wrong are the same thing. Correct equals conditionally not wrong. Today I will be an ENFP with a can opener and 2 ducks. Oops, 1 duck flew away. It's alright, you can get a goose then. Just toss in a goose. You relate to both? Well, let me put it this way. What would you say if I told you you were pretty hot? What would you think? I don't know what you look like. Let's just pretend I said you're pretty hot. What would you look like? What would you say? What would you think? You feel embarrassed? Not insulted? You wouldn't critique my choice of the adjective pretty to modify hot and realize that that was probably as much an insult as a compliment? It's a silly question because not wrong. Hi, darling.
Not long enough.
No, not wrong, I said.
Oh, what?
Correct is just not wrong. Correct isn't a permanent status.
I didn't realize there was an audience.
Yes, there is.
There are some belts for you.
Thanks, darling.
Welcome.
You're my belt bringer.
Oh, yeah.
Bringer of belts. So if I remember one time I said something like that to Rachel. I said, well, you know, then besides which, you're pretty hot, you know, and she said, I know you're telling the truth because you said pretty hot. And I was like, oops. You know, that's INFJ maneuver. This person is saying she feels like a cross between an INFP and an INFJ. And I'm trying to say, INFJs are very different than INFPs.
Yeah. I can see how sometimes we can look similar.
Sure, Sean Reinberg.
Because, thought pattern.
They're both slow to, they're non-impulsive types.
Yeah.
They're both INFP and INFJ are both non-impulsive.
Yeah.
In other words, they're quite deliberative in their own ways. Now, granted, INFJ is actually a knowledge type, not a deliberation type. But regardless, a knowledge type is way more deliberative than either an interface or an action.
Literally, yeah. It's knowledge that I deliberate on. Well,
I mean, the thing is, being a knower means there are some circumstances in which you know it could be a couple of things.
Right.
And in that case, then you have to err on the side of not taking any action until you figure out which of the things it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why knowledge is more deliberative. It's more like a deliberation function. It's the other epistemology function. Knowledge and deliberation are both like epistemology functions.
I think personally, INFPs, I know they do go through times where they have like I have no idea what I'm gonna do, but then like they do find something and then they go after it way easier than an INFJ.
Well, you know, it's like this person here said, well, I said to them, what would you say if I said you were pretty hot? And they said, lol, I'd feel embarrassed. Well, okay, that's probably true of both INFJs and INFPs, but I think that's a much more INFP answer to the question.
LOL. Yeah.
LOL, I feel embarrassed.
Yeah, that is.
Sean Ryan Barron here, let me make you a potterator.
You have something to share?
Yes, you have something to share. And now you may share. The human anus can stretch up to 7 inches? Raccoons can squeeze into spaces as small as 4 inches, meaning you can take almost 2 entire raccoons up your anus.
Learn something new.
That's an amazing piece of news, Sean Mary Barron. I thank you for sharing that with me. That's important news. I'm glad to know that. What I'm thinking, of course, naturally, Sean Ryan Barron, is small, you know, juvenile raccoon. You can get 2 full raccoons. Right? One of them an adult raccoon, one of them a juvenile. You're sure to be able to fit both of them. And then they can circle around and get all cuddly and nuzzle up against each other and just sleep in there.
Nest on them.
Nest inside of my butt. No. That's raccoon pederasty, John Bear. I'm saying a juvenile, not a little baby one, but like a teenager.
yeah. You know, just to keep the family warm.
You're right. Just keep them warm inside my butt.
I don't know why. The things having to do with your butt makes me really, like laugh a lot. Like when you fart, it makes me laugh a lot. Cause like your butt is a very sensitive area. I haven't even seen it yet. I know of your tushy very well.
Tissue. Yeah. My body is covered with tissue.
Oh, tushy.
Oh, tushy.
I know tushy well. I don't know your anus well.
I thought you said you knew my tissue well.
Oh.
Like, sometimes people refer to skin and meat as tissue.
I do. I rub my fingers all over those tenderloins.
Yeah, these are my tissues. All of this stuff. This is my tissue. Anus is the third eye? No.
Where is this going?
The third eye is right here, I think, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's right there. It's right
in
the middle. Uh-huh.
It's not your anus. That's your fourth eye, Lawnmower. That's your fourth eye. Okay.
What is it called? The whispering eye?
The whispering eye. How good are INFPs with FE? Well, I mean, they're typically very well liked. The thing about having ignoring is other people will say you validated on it fine. Like most people would say I validated on NI fine. Nobody's going to say you're too disregarding of the truth, Well, look at this. There's an insert ad button. So at some point during the live stream, I can say, okay, it's time for a commercial.
That's what Frank James do.
Yeah, except you know how Frank James says it, right? Oops, I think YouTube wants to play a commercial right now.
Let's go see what they have to say.
Let's see what they have to say. That's such good FE, right?
Yeah.
I just wouldn't be able to position it like that. I would just be like, okay, guys, I'm going to make you watch a commercial now. I'd just be like honest about it, You're like, God damn it, I don't want to watch. I know I don't want to push it either, so fuck it. Who knew? This is a new thing for me. YouTube, I think, just decided that I was trustworthy with ads or something. It's weird.
Yeah, because doesn't it happen with help you with monetization?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and I also have this thing where I can have. There's a couple other monetization things I could do. Like there's this you can be special thing where it's like if I turn it on and then you give me money, you get a special sticker next to your name or something. There's that. I haven't turned it on yet, but I might turn it on at some point. I feel kind of like dirty turning those things on. I even felt kind of dirty turning on super chats. But now I understand super chats make sense in some sense. You have a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
They don't make sense around here because everybody has plenty of room to talk,
Yeah. I think that's exactly the reason why they should donate, though.
Oh,
I know.
The thing is this. It's like if I want people to give me money on this channel, then I could spend my time making better content.
I know. This is true. You're right. I know.
Because this is the thing. It's like it's just such play for me anyway. That it's ridiculous to think that people are going to pay me. It takes no effort for me to go, oh, I'm going to live stream. Fuck, I'm going to live. No, live stream is the thing I do to avoid doing other things I'm supposed to do.
Well, you've already had Frank James donate twice, so.
Yeah, right. I am able to say, a lot of people can say they super chatted Frank James. I can say, Frank James super chatted me. That's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Are there any ENTJs who jump in these trains regularly? No. My interactions with ENTJs are always the same. Typically, they hire me to type them. I type them. They're satisfied with the answer. They go, yep, that's me. I never hear from them again. Then they're out of the typology community. They're looking for the single right answer that's going to give them all the useful information they can take from typology and then put it in their repertoire of things they know that influence how they make their decisions in the world. And then they never revisit the topic. It's just how ENTJs work.
Do you think ENFJs are like that too?
No, because ENFJs, they have this need for social interaction and intuition. And so the two of those combined means this kind of community is something that ENFJs can very well get into. But because they're not trying to, because the utility of a thing is its ability to impact people and social things meaningfully or inform on those things meaningfully.
That makes sense. It's more for them to like socialize and to learn cognitive functions too, but mostly to socialize. But it seems like a lot of ENFJs who get typed as ENFJ, they're positive after it. They're like, take away me. But it seems like Zandy, like she knows. Like she's not gonna.
I can think of one ENFJ who came in who really wanted to be an INFJ. And I could see him actively gaming to be INFJ.
I remember that.
This guy, and it was a long time ago. At the end of it, I ended up just typing him INFJ, basically because he so obviously to me wanted so badly to be INFJ and not ENFJ, and I was, and he was of course very nice, you know. He made me like him. So at the end, I was like, yeah, you're right.
I know. You are very nice.
I mean, he was very nice. He made me like him.
I know. That's why, like, with, like, female ENTP, like, I feel like you're being nice to her by letting her be. You don't argue it anymore.
Right. Well, yeah. She has earned the ESFP's badge of success, which is she outlasted me. In terms of persistence, in terms of insistence, in terms of just
now she's something else. She's INTP.
Oh, Brittany's INTP now?
Yeah, I saw in one of the.
She's actually ESFP, but whatever. Thoughts on INFP bonds? You know, I don't know much about that. I can't think of any examples. I don't know an INFP pair who are either together romantically or friends. I don't know. It's a good question.
Two as friends who were friends, but there was still this sort of like distance between them. Like I thought it was very pronounced, the thinking and feeling parts between them. Like talking to the INTP, I could talk about like computer science and stuff, whereas with the INFP, it was more mystical stuff. We didn't have much.
Sorry.
That's okay. So, in my opinion, they don't meet that often.
Well, it's the equivalent of an ESTP-ENTP relationship. And because they have the opposite one of the same kind of function at the top, right? So it's like SETI has the same deliberation function with the opposite action function as me. So for them, FI-NE has the opposite dominant, the same tool, same as me and ESTP, you know?
Oh yeah.
ESTPs and ENTPs don't hang around together very much for the simple reason that there are few niches that support both as a dominant extrovert. So it's like in this kind of environment, the ENTP is going to unavoidably be the dominant extrovert because it's native to the ENTP's skill set. ESTP will be effective in this environment, as you see with Taylor. But if you watch me and Taylor make a video together, I'll talk more than Taylor. Taylor will talk less than me. And Taylor will be more decisive in what he says. You know, he's not like Delilah, who's a super open and talkative SE Dom, although a lot of SE Doms are super open like that. He's an 8 at ESTP, and that makes him, you know, kind of walking like a cat all the time, you know?
Yeah. I always think of a bullish. I think of a bull when I think of like 8. They're a little bit stubborn.
Okay, what's that move that the guy uses in the book, Rand uses in the book? Cat crossing the courtyard?
Yeah.
Cat crossing the courtyard is this like this way of walking that this character uses in this book. And what he does, he stands absolutely perfectly tall and has like hyper wariness of everything around him. He's perceived as arrogant and a force to be reckoned with when he walks in that way. So 8s, like Taylor always walks with cat crossing the courtyard. And so people will perceive him as a force and maybe even arrogant, even if he's not. And so in a physical environment, the ESTP is going to be the dominant extrovert. And the thing is, what will often end up happening, like when I've hung out with Taylor on a number of occasions, and I end up getting caught up playing with some idea. You know, after a while, we hang out, and then he goes upstairs to have sex with Katie. You know, and I'm writing a song down in the basement, and he's having sex upstairs with his girlfriend.
You hear it?
I mean, you know, I start writing the song, and Taylor goes, "Well, I guess I'm gonna go have sex with Katie now." You know, so it's pretty clear what they're going upstairs to do, whether I hear it or not. And then, but then, you know, it's like we'll go out and we'll do stuff together, and that'd be great. But it's the sort of thing that generally, people who are filling very close niches like that don't hang out together. You'll notice I don't hang out with a lot of ENTPs either. Not really a lot of ENTPs here. There's a couple people I tend to think might be ENTPs, and they turn out not to be. I think Waldo Ludowski's an ENTP.
Do you still think that Jason Blood is?
Yeah, I think so. Can we have a chat? Sure. You want to chat? What do you want to chat about? You want to chat right now or what?
Look at that handsome Dave. That's what I fell in love with.
Okay, yes, we can chat later. Well, look what Winston's mom found.
What?
Some sort of like Wikipedia on the book series we're reading.
Oh, cool.
That has Cat Crosses the Courtyard. Cat crosses the courtyard is a way of carrying oneself which maximizes alert and reaction potential. The blade Monty lets his body hang relaxed, spine straight as though suspended by a line. It affects a self-assured manner and projects confidence, but could also be described as a relaxed, almost arrogant saunter. Right?
Perfect for Taylor.
Perfect. Jeez, wow.
Taylor.
Yeah, that's a perfect ESTP 8 walk.
Yeah, 8.
ESTP 8 walks like that. That's cool, Winston's mom.
Yeah, that was really good looking up. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I like the fact that it said It's like it couldn't have been a better description of Taylor's walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are not very many real ENTPs with McDonald's. Not very many. Mayweather, what's his type? Shitty. He's the shittiest kind of boxer there is. I mean, Captain Runaway. Gotta be an ISTP, I guess. Or an ESTP.
Mayweather?
Yeah. What does an ENTP 8 walk like? I mean, ENTPs 8s don't necessarily walk any different.
They're loud.
They just carry a chip on their shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what Jen. People don't mess with Jen because the look, like, she looks like.
She's got a chip on her shoulder. Mm-hmm. I'm glad to be 8 second.
It's hard to get close to her because of that. I mean, I feel that people. She has a lot of friends. I mean, I think ENTPs just do have, but like strangers, like I was intimidated.
Well, it's like this: ENTPs 8s always have a chip on their shoulder because the world has not valued them adequately.
Yeah. And
depending on who you are, and if you encounter them in certain moods, then you're gonna pay the price for the world not valuing them adequately.
Yeah.
What does it mean to have a chip on your shoulder? It means to carry around a hurt about how the world has failed to meet your expectations.
Sometimes it's justified, sometimes it's not, you know?
Right. I mean, the thing is, like, I had a chip on my shoulder sort of for a little while, but in like the early 2000s when I felt like nobody was listening to me and I deserved to be listened to. But the fact is, at the time, I didn't deserve to be listened to because obviously if I had been good enough to be listened to, people would have listened to me. And the same thing applies now. There's nothing for me to have a chip on my shoulder about. If I want to be successful then. You know? Don't complain about it, Eric. It's not anybody's fault but yourself. I can think of an example of an ENTP with a chip on his shoulder. At least he had one last time I checked in on him. This guy's 0 entropy. Nice work.
Thank you.
That is some good work.
I could tell.
I don't think he's an ESFP. You look at him talking, he's articulate, intelligent. The way he boxes almost like playing Frederick. I think he's probably an ISTP. The way he boxes makes me think he's an ISTP. 0 entropy. Okay, well, that 0 entropy might have been a 6. We still have a chip on the shoulder. Okay? So maybe I'm incorrect to correlate 8 with chip on the shoulder there in that context. Because I think 6s can definitely have a chip on their shoulder too.
I have less than an 8.
I think so. I mean, are you sure? What makes you so sure that guy was a 6? Ethan McDonald.
6s are, I think the 6 is being a little bit more naive. Like, there's a little bit more of a lightness to them because their headspace. It's a little, yes, they fret, yes, they worry, but they also have they joke a lot. Like, I think Tom Hanks is a 6.
Well, Ethan McDonald says nervous energy is his reason for kind of the 6. He did have some nervous energy, but so do I, right?
Yeah.
Jason Blood says he has a block on his shoulder. People should listen to him more. I mean,
ENTP thing, yeah.
Look, I have that periodically, as I did yesterday morning, the day before when I made this video called Eric totally right about COVID and everyone else is totally wrong and fuck you all or whatever it's called. But the thing is, I get that stuff off of my shoulder, so it doesn't stay there. When I'm mad, I make a mad video, and then I'm not mad anymore. So, as long as I get to say my piece out loud, even if only 80 people watch it or whatever, well, that's okay. That's what I get to say what my position is and everything. And it has a chance to compete in the marketplace of ideas. And what more could I ask for? You know what I'm saying? This is a special day today, a commemoration for all who've fallen victim to mistyping. You know what, Sky Gear? I like that definition of this holiday better than my definition of this holiday, for sure. INFJ keeps it all, then explodes some random point. That's so true, Alan. That is so true. And then the ESP goes, what? What are you saying? I consider you stressful, living life as you please, helping your father. Oh, successful. I see. I consider you successful. I just read that as stressful. I'm much more used to hearing people say that. I consider you successful, living life as you please, helping your father, building this community, and there's no hamster wheel stress in your day. It's a good point. Those are all good points, Winston's phone. You're really appealing to my SI there. Even though from you, it's probably from an NI perspective, but I do feel like I do feel like I feel good about helping my dad. The more here he comes, in fact. Hi, Dad. Oh, I guess he's not coming here.
Can you see him? Hello. Good morning.
I see he's looking at the avocado tree.
Here, squirrels. The squirrels eat them and then they drop the pits.
How many pits did you see?
We've seen like 4 or 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I think trouble getting to these.
Yeah.
So there were more than 2 ones.
Yeah. I know.
Email Anthrax, I'm going to prevent you from getting in trouble with YouTube. I get heard of that.
That's bigger than my feet.
You got a what that's bigger than your feet?
Chip on my shoulder that's bigger than my feet.
That's big. For you, that's not a very big chip. You don't really have particularly big feet.
It's a Beatles song.
Oh, really?
I talk to people that I meet. Yeah.
I didn't
If
know
I
that.
could see you now, I try to make you sad. So
Oh, yeah, I do know that song.
So I cry.
And I cry. I know that song. It's a good one.
Yeah.
So Ethan McDonald, you thought that the video of the typing of Simon was priceless. I enjoyed it too. I wish Rachel had been able to listen in. At the time, we hadn't gotten our extra set of headphones yet.
Oh yeah.
So, but now that she has her own headphones, I have my own new headphones. Hey, Mercury in retrograde.
Yeah.
Right? We finally took care of the headphone issue, which had been like hanging around.
Yeah, because the ghost stole not only my ring, which I want to know now, but my earbud as well. One of my earbuds was stolen from the ghost and my ring. And you can't buy earbuds separately, so we had to buy
get
our
new
own.
headphones.
Yeah.
And of course, what comes back into our frame of reference every Mercury in retrograde? Reverberations from
Oh yeah. past people.
from certain past people, you know. Well, here it comes back again this time. We'll see, you know.
Oh yeah. No, you're right.
I don't want to get into it, but it's Mercury in retrograde. Every time one of that extended group of people comes back with fire, or in this case, maybe not so much fire, you know.
Yeah, not so much.
Yeah, the bit with the video, the video with the Brit, the bit with the Britio. What are you saying? The video with the Brit was good. I enjoyed it because, unlike most of those sessions, it required very little effort on my part. I just had to say, okay, read me more of your yeah, you know, your list of things that you made there. Eek, a giant avocado has attacked Quizyland and is now on the loose. Help the Quizyland warriors to find and defeat the rogue group by providing them information about it. Good luck. It's green. It's bumpy. It has a pit inside the middle of it. The meat of it is kind of like, looks like green pear or something.
Yeah.
What's the difference between experiencing something bad and feeling something bad? Well, experiencing something bad implies that the experience is bad. Whereas no, experiencing something bad implies that the thing is bad that you're experiencing.
Like
feeling
war.
something bad, the feeling and the badness are the same thing. Okay?
Makes me think of like people fighting. Like they're in the experience of like war, right? But they're experiencing it. So there's a high chance that they're not really like tapping into their feelings
They're
at
not
that moment.
feeling it, yeah.
Yeah. But then afterwards is usually when the feels start coming in.
Right. It's a good point. So, I mean, the other thing is I might experience something objectively bad, but not feel bad about it. For example, if I were to experience
Good luck, PP out there.
well, let's say that I was at the Democratic National Convention for some reason, and Biden had a sudden heart attack and died. And someone said, quick, we need a random person to fill in as presidential candidate. Well, that would be a bad thing that he had a heart attack, but I wouldn't feel bad about it. I'd be like, fuck yeah, you know. So that's just the truth. I don't mean to be like mean or anything or feel like I'm celebrating somebody else's death, but in that instance, I wouldn't be able to help it.
I saw that with Trump that Kellyanne Conway was saying, she's like, I'm not surprised that the polls, he's not doing well in the polls. You know, that woman, Kellyanne Conway. It's just like, you're the one who supported him for so long. Like,
He's feeling bad because no matter what, there's no bad experience in or a good one.
no.
Now, there are good or bad experiences.
Yeah.
There are things that are objectively bad, such as, no, there are things that are objectively bad. Somebody's rights might get violated, but I might think they really deserve it, you know, because they're a bad person. That doesn't justify it, but I might still feel okay about it.
Right.
For example, when I was on a jury and somebody, no, listen to this. No, Raphael, listen. No, okay, dying, I agree, is not bad objectively. I agree with that. There's no moral component to death. Okay, so you win that point, Raphael, I'll be honest, but I will give you a different example then, okay? You win that point. I was on a jury, and the person who was on trial had actually committed a simple assault. That was the reality of it. The fact is, the people he assaulted were drunks who totally deserved it. And the way that he assaulted them, in my opinion, they didn't deserve it, but they probably learned a good lesson from it. Let's put it that way. Nobody was seriously hurt at all, and they probably learned a lesson about being practical in the world a bit. Nevertheless, the guy on trial committed a crime of assault. And I, and everybody else in that jury, but I as the jury foreman, led the way to find that guy not guilty by reason of self-defense, even though that was not true. So that is an example of a bad thing, a bad experience. In other words, the experience, the reality that somebody's rights were violated was bad. But in that instance, it was trumped by the greater bad of the prosecutor vastly over-prosecuting the guy with things like felony assault with a tear gas weapon because he pepper sprayed the guy, and assault, maybe even assault with a deadly weapon because he hit him with a assault with a deadly weapon because he hit him with a squeegee that was like a 99-cent store squeegee that like broke into a million pieces. It's all plastic. So the thing is, in that instance, we acknowledge that the act of rights violation by the guy who was on trial was bad. But we don't necessarily have to feel as though we have to hold that person accountable. That's a subjective decision. No, bad doesn't equal pain. Bad equals rights violation. Bad equals rights violation. Either positive or negative right violation. So in other words, if I go through McDonald's, I pay them at the first window, I have a positive right to my food at the second window. If they don't give it to me, they violated my positive right, and that would be bad. If they do give me my food, and as I drive away, somebody runs up with a gun and hijacks my food from me and says, give me your food and drinks, and I give them my food and drinks, and they run away with it, then my negative rights have been violated. That's bad. If I then, because I'm so mad about this happening, intentionally hit somebody with my car, then I have violated their negative rights, and that's bad. Negative rights are objective. Actually, contractual positive rights and negative rights are objectively a moral issue, and objectively it's wicked or morally impermissible, definitionally, to violate rights. That's all objective. The non-objective aspects of morality are totally different things than I'm saying.
I love you too.
I've gone over this in great length before, Raphael. They're conditionally absolute. So it doesn't mean that you can't imagine that they're conditionally not absolute or that they're whatever, but they are conditionally absolute, predicated on the ownership of your own body. We can logically deduce negative rights. And you might say, well, how do you know you own your own body? Well, everybody acts as if they do because they're the only ones who can. They're the only ones who can have the agency to make decisions about their own body. You cannot actually sell your will to anybody. So no. Rights are a logical extension of agency. Rights are a logical extension of agency. The fact that ownership is a thing and that there's one thing that people cannot sell. They absolutely cannot sell their will. They can agree contractually to hand it over to another for periods of time or presumably even forever. But whether or not they uphold that contract is a matter of their will fundamentally. No, this is about whether or not rights are logical. So as soon as we start defining some terms meaningfully, and you can choose to say, every definition we use, I'm going to try to muss up, but then you're going to need to provide a counter definition, or else we're going to prefer mine. Because it's not a choice between the definitions I'm providing and no definition at all. It's a choice between the definitions I'm providing and some counter definition you're offering. We have to define the words meaningfully in some way. So because I'm the only one providing these meaningful definitions, okay, but just because your will is no notable to a machine slightly prior to it being notable to you doesn't change the fact that you can't sell it, which is the only salient link here to the issue.
You definitely want to sell it.
You want to sell your will?
No. I don't even call
Don't
it.
dissemble, Raphael. If you're just going to dissemble, I don't want to argue with you about it. Not that you have yet. You haven't yet. I'm just starting right off the bat. Don't start dissembling. I actually have good arguments here. So the point is, that's irrelevant to the question of whether or not rights are logically inferred by ownership. Horse Mumbler didn't respond to my message, it doesn't look like. No, he didn't. Do you have any update on that, Mrs. Bombs? Horse Mumbler cool?
What up? I hope he's cool. Do you think today, in this climate, it's the best time to dig a hole to China?
It's a good idea. Why haven't we done that yet?
I mean, we're getting COVID from China, so we might as well.
Get it directly to the hole.
Yeah.
Let it run its course. I really, really want to do that. If we have one thing that we actually accomplished, Rachel, it's that I want to make a banner that says, let it run its course. I want to hang it from the freeway like those people do.
Okay.
Sorry for being annoying, but I heard that if INFJs relate to INFPs, that means they're just unhealthy INFJs and vice versa. Is that so? No, that's ridiculous. Rachel, that won't work. Earth is flat. Even if it's flat, it's a wafer lawnmower, and you can still drill through it.
Yeah. There's still layers.
Or are you saying there's only stuff on the top?
So maybe when I was planting those seeds, they dropped into China.
It's possible. If the world is wafer thin, who got triggered? Did I assume your race? I don't think so, Raphael.
Conjecture.
Conjecture.
I mean, that is a really interesting correlation. When things are going, you know what? When I notice, when things are going really bad in my life, when I have no friends and I'm looking for friends, ESFP females seem to come into my life. When I'm not on the right path or like doing things that I'm just gonna leave it at that. But usually INFPs, it's like it starts off pretty natural because you're able to talk about like intuitive stuff with them. But they're into like, I'm just gonna stop talking because we have INFPs here. But I just find that it's like the things that we talk about, once they start getting serious, that's when problems arrive. It's like relationships and like heavy emotional stuff. That's when I find that the friendship starts to kind of like go in separate ways because my advice will never satisfy.
Because INFPs just won't stop complaining about the same thing over and over and over and over again. That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
I'll translate for her. From INFJ into ENTP. INFPs keep complaining about the same thing over and over again and never take your advice.
But love affairs and stuff.
About love affairs.
Sometimes it could be about a job. Like I knew an INFP who was like working 3 jobs. She couldn't decide which one she could quit. And I was like, you're burning yourself out. You need to, like, you have to.
Yeah, I have Horse Mumbler's cell phone number. I think I could call him.
Why? I'm sorry, Mrs. Mom. What prompted you to be so concerned? What happened?
Probably just non-responsiveness on his part. Because I wasn't concerned until he didn't respond to my message on Google Hangouts.
Okay.
Now I'm thinking maybe I should call him Tessa.
Okay.
See what's going on.
That's nice.
Are you sick of people's BS? You know, you'd expect them to have HS. Why are they carrying around cow feces? The Chinese government kidnapped Horse Mumbler? That's possible. It's possible.
I think
Maybe
his dad probably would have shut him down. Wow.
they might need to. They might need him to mumble at some horses. Eric, when I burn my finger on the stove, 3 months pass and I do it again. I repeat mistakes after a while. What cognitive function or lack thereof is to blame? It's weak SI, possibly 4th slot, possibly 5th slot, maybe even 3rd. I do that too. It's like I do that with drugs. Right? So I had ketamine for a while. I'd do it and I'd be like, I hate ketamine. I'm not doing that anymore. And this was a long time ago, but and then after like a week or 2 would pass, and I'd be like, yeah, but maybe I should try that. Do it again. I don't like it. Why did I do it? Why did I do it again? I know that already. Same thing is true with snorting Adderall. It's like every time I crush one up and snort one, I regret it. And I go, Eric, do not do that again. That hurts. There's no point. You're being silly. Just don't do that anymore. And then a couple months pass, and I go, I'm gonna snort one again. That's not addiction.
It could be so easy to forget. I think it's sort of like that with like labor pains. Like women say that it's the most excruciating pain that you'll ever feel, but once you have the baby, you forget about all the pain. It's like
then she gets pregnant again. It's like if a woman learned anything from first child, she'd never have another one, right?
And each birth is different too. So like
just like every poop is different.
Right. So you can't expect, like with me, like your mom said you shout out, like I shout out too. I was like ready for the world. My sister could have stayed in my mom's belly probably for the rest of her life.
Lazy SFJ.
She was comfy in her womb. She had food. My sister was 10 pounds when she came out. She didn't want to leave.
Eric, you ever experiment with psychedelics and link to MBTI and the unconscious functions? Sure, I've done mushrooms. I've done LSD. It has some link to. I mean, certainly, mushrooms at least have some link to FI, because you know one of the strangest psychedelic trip I ever had was when Kimberly and I took mushrooms together and fought the whole time. We fought on mushrooms, and we were laughing while we were fighting. And she was like laughing hard, saying things like, I'm so mad that I'm laughing because I'm so mad at you, you know? It was the strangest experience. It was like, you know, we were having the same fight we had normally, except we were having it on mushrooms. Like, but why don't you listen to me ever? Why does nothing? Yeah, I was laughing too. Right? We could be laughing and having the same fight, except we weren't yelling at each other. We were laughing.
Oh my god, that's such a sign.
Yeah, I mean, that was weird.
Oh, that really is. You look so handsome.
Who, me?
I'm just pretending that I'm next to you. It's like a ghost next to you.
Okay.
Yes, you. Yes, you.
Rachel, I dreamed about Arizona, woke up worried, and the symbolism keeps reoccurring. Oh, it's an NI
okay.
thing.
Okay.
Okay, well,
I
then I'll
see.
definitely call him. I like NI. I'll call him.
Yeah.
That's a good justification
Mhm.
for me.
Thank you for sharing that, Winston's mom.
I would say LSD. I mean, the thing is this. I don't think it really has much to do with cognitive functions, psychedelics or drugs in general. Other people like to say it does, but I don't see why it would. I mean, cognitive functions are habits of paying attention. Obviously, your attention that you pay is altered when you're on drugs. Like, I was paying attention to the clock one time when I was on LSD. And the reason I was paying attention to it was because I was kind of freaking out. Like, okay, I'm really tripping out, and I need this thing to end. This acid trip is too strong. And I was watching the clock, and it was going like 4:59, 5 o'clock, 4:59, 5 o'clock. Yes, 4:59. What the fuck? It was going backwards and forwards in time. You know.
That's gotta be frustrating.
It was frustrating, but it was still me experiencing it.
Did you get to talk to your dad?
About what?
Because he was out here, like when we were talking about the avocados.
I don't think he came to talk to me. I think he just came to look at the tree. I said, "What's up, Dad?" And he didn't hear me.
Oh.
So I think Raphael's probably an INTP. I mean, an ENTP. No, he's not an INTP. I think he's an extrovert, and I think he's an ENTP. He just because he didn't do, just because he. I mean, I think he's an ENTP.
I'm gonna try and have a poop.
My strangest trip was in high school. My girlfriend and I were on LSD and making love to her. She turned into a truck driver.
That's funny.
That's a strange trip. I can see Raphael as ENTP. I can too, that's what I see. The nines have a whole lot more to eat. I don't think that correlates, G.
The thing is with ENTPs, like I feel like they can experiment with drugs more than some types. It doesn't necessarily have to do with type, but I do think that for some reason, like internal, maybe because you don't have, I don't know, maybe lack of FI. There's no like attached feelings to like the outcome of anything. I don't know, but I do know more than one ENTP who had beat themselves, like, used a lot of drugs and still like maintained a lifestyle, but like would never recommend it for anyone else. Like you should never copy an ENTP. Like don't try to copy them. Because the stuff that they're doing is like all they're just thinking of themselves in the moment.
Yeah.
They don't think of other people in the moment, so just don't follow them. Be your own person.
Do you?
Yeah, do you?
I really wish I had that picture of that ratchet peacock. That would have been such a perfect. You nailed the caption. That's perfect.
Thanks, baby.
I saw this other lady taking a picture of this really ratchet ass peacock the other day. Okay, it had its feathers out, right? This big display of feathers. Except like all the ones in the middle were gone, and it just had like a couple of ones sticking out here and here, just like 3 or 4 random feathers, all junky looking. And he looked so proud. He was like, "Look at me, look at me," you know. It would have been a funny picture. We should have taken it. I don't think it was laced with meth, Alan. Brian. LSD is just naturally very speedy. You can't sleep on it. Do
In
people
their
grow?
nose? Yes, they do, Kyra.
Yep. I grow occasionally a white hair too in my nose.
Me too. I plucked some.
I'm pretty nose hair plucky. I tend to try to stay on top of keeping my nose hair plugged. I like that. I like that Wheel of Time Wikipedia thing. I'm going to check that out. Cat dances on the wall and cat on hot sand. First mentioned or used, Great Hunt, Chapter 8.
Well.
And Lan Mandragoran instructs Randall Thor to assume this walk during his first meeting of Silan Sanche, the Amaranth Sea. Rand later dropped into this walk while talking to Lord Barthanes Damarad at his estate.
It's so strange. Seeing those words, I can't tell who they are, right? But in the story, I'm like, oh yeah, I know who they are.
Because you just listened to it, you haven't read it. Whereas I didn't necessarily have a good understanding of what things sounded like in my head when I read it, because when I come to the names, I just sort of visual pop them and not really hear if they were hard to say.
Yeah, so you made it your own, right?
Right, yeah. I just say like Barthan's Damadrid or something.
Yeah.
Lan Mandragoran. See you in. I got one. I probably just changed it to Susan. That's Susan lady.
Oh my gosh, I love you so much. You make things simpler.
Well, I actually didn't want to. I want to be able to close tab because I want to have access to that thing. I'm going to bookmark this wiki. Wheel of Time wiki. Casting for the new series. Look. Oops. No, it went. This is one here. See? Casting. These are drawings of the Tabiran. That's Perrin, Rand, and Matt.
What channel is it going to be on?
I don't know. Let's see.
Wait, which one's? Honestly, it doesn't even. Oh, but Rosamund Pike is Moraine? That's smart.
Prime Video. Amazon Prime Video. We'll have to get Amazon Prime when it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be a while because production stopped because of COVID.
Yeah.
But can you show me which ones in the paintings are who?
Yeah, sure. Let me put this here in this one. Okay, this is Matt. That's Rand.
I knew that was Matt.
This is Perrin. Rand. And the middle one's Rand.
Rand.
Yeah.
What's Perrin?
Perrin's the guy with the axe, with the yellow eyes, who's with the wolves.
Yes, but what type is he is?
Oh, ISTJ.
ICJ.
ISTJ.
And then INFP. ISFP.
I think Rand's an ISFP.
Yeah.
And Matt, ESTP, I think. Could be ISTP, but a little too extroverted for that.
He says some real stupid shit.
I think he's ESTP.
I don't like him. Out of the three, I like him the least.
Yeah.
He just says some real fucking stupid shit. Like, I know that's the point of it. He's supposed to be the one who like makes mistakes and stuff. But like,
this is Tarvalin.
Cool.
That's what it looks like. That's cool. It's nice to have a image of the people. It is. This is I'm sure I kind of visualize Perrin like this anyway. I kind of visualized Rand like this anyway. I didn't really have a good image in my mind of Matt. Really.
I couldn't visualize I can't visualize their faces ever.
Well, now we've got these guys
Yeah.
to go on. Okay, well that's good. I'm glad to find that. What type was Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl? Is she the main lady?
Yeah.
Oh, uh, I don't know. I don't know. Personality database says she's an ISFJ. Who? Rosamund Pike?
No, the character.
Okay, the character that Rosamund Pike plays?
Yeah.
The white cloaks are Nazis? Yeah, the white cloaks are Nazis. Joe Madden is a good example of ENTP in sports. Who's Joe Madden? I believe when ENTPs are younger in their early 20s, their NE is very strong and might lead them astray with the first option that pops into their head. That's true. That's one of the problems with being an ENTP is this NI ignoring manifest, as it doesn't really matter which option you choose. Just pick one and go with it, and you'll figure it out on the fly.
Yeah.
And that's a poor strategy in general. I think art making helps a lot because art making is that process of having to make decisions.
Yeah. And it also helps with trying to finish something too. If you get real passionate about it, you're gonna want to finish it. So completion stuff. Sometimes, you know.
Is INFP NE primarily internal? So why? Well, it's more internal than ENTP NE because they've got better SI. Still, they're going to have to talk it out at some point, or put it out, or journal it, or make a video about it, or something. Because you can only keep so much NE in your head before you need to render it onto where it belongs, the external metaphysical field. But yeah, they're better keeping it in their head than with their third slot SI. INTPs and INFPs both than are ENTPs and ENFPs who can't keep it in their head very well at all. I talk to myself all the time. What functions made this be? I think most people talk to themselves a lot more than they see.
I was talking to myself last night.
Yeah, I think it really depends on what you're saying.
I was working out shit that I had forgotten because we had talked about my money situation with Zach, and it got me thinking about like that whole time in my life. But it worked out like a lot of shit. Like I realized like I was just young.
Right. Young people make mistakes. And depending on what kind of personality type you are, it's going to have a substantial difference in what kind of mistakes you make.
I guess the effing mistakes that I always try to like avoid, maybe, I don't know, because like I always brought everything up, like, you know, like if there was like something off, I do hold people accountable for.
So do you think you were too critical of him? Is that what you're saying?
No. I think it's when I was starting to actually stand up it was the beginning of me standing up for myself with Zach. Because with Billy, I didn't do that at all. I was always like the good girlfriend, and I didn't, like, if we were to have a fight, it was going to be over something stupid. Like say he like gushes on about a movie that I didn't like. Well, then I'd be like, well, you know what? I don't like that movie. So like we never really got deep. So like when Zach would like pull bullshit, I was learning to stand up for myself. Cause he was a real, when things were good, they were really good. But when ESFPs are bad, they wreck the whole world, I swear. They're real, like they're, look at the president right now. Fucking mess of a human being.
Yeah.
And not only that, but he's fucking up people's lives and he doesn't even give a fuck. He's like he tries too late.
He doesn't understand.
I'm not upset, I'm just saying.
Raphael, it might depend upon their MOS. I don't know what MOS is. Do INFPs hate people who hate what they like? No, I don't think so.
ESFPs, when they're out of a relationship, right? Okay, so like I dated an ESFP and he promised that we would be able to live together and we got a dog together and it was really great for maybe like 2 months. Then he lost his job and he would spend all day on porn sites using my laptop. And when I went away on a cruise with my family, he took my credit card and he went on adult friend finder. Not only was he talking to multiple women on friend finder, but he also started working for Budweiser selling stuff. So he was hitting on the Budweiser girls as well. Like when ESFPs run amok, they really fucking run amok. Like you gotta be careful about ESFPs. Peer XO is a good example of what to watch out for, girls. Do not fall for it.
Hmm.
I can use the bathroom now, or they. What time?
No, they're coming at, well, good luck with that. Between 10 and 12.
So, you know, I don't like hearing about that. It makes me feel sad. It makes me feel sad to hear about Rachel being with other people, even though obviously she has a past before me, so it's unavoidably going to be the case that she's had some boyfriends. But I don't like to hear about it. It makes me feel sad. It's one of those sad realities, I think, in life that in the modern age, for the most part, when a couple gets together and settles down, the girl will have a more colorful history than the man, because the guy who wants to settle down is typically not somebody who's played the field a whole shit ton. So it's one of those unfortunate realities of the modern world, you know, that every relationship-minded guy is going to end up with somebody who they know has you know, slept with more people than they have. So well, females are in more demand simply because that's the sexual dynamics of human being. It's just there's this sort of men pursue women, either give it up or don't, you know, and women therefore have control over that. And you know, it's a lot. If you're not somebody who feels like a Chad, then it's a lot easier to succumb to a temptation than it is to muster the courage and so forth to go and try to pursue somebody. Women have the keys to the treasure chest, right? So, you know, I feel fortunate. I've got a woman who has no ex-husbands, no kids, no tattoos. What function is it when one doesn't care about the past? That's probably SI polar if you really don't care about it. But if you're aware, then you might be just countervalued 6 slots on the slot. I mean, 6 slot, 8 slot potentially. My history's on YouTube, so Rachel has visuals. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Rachel can visualize what my ex-girlfriends look like, and she can see me interacting with them and stuff. The thing is, I'm assuming she doesn't probably seek out those videos to watch. I don't think I would. You know, my history is also all there in my Google Photos, which you know, she shares. We share like, I don't know, like I can look at her Google Photos, so she can look at mine. I never look at her photos. As an INFJ, she's careful about shit like that. I'm totally careless about shit like that. Who knows what's in those Google Photos? Any kids planned? No. We have planned no kids. It's because of a medication thing. If for Rachel to get pregnant, she'd have to get off of her medication, and I don't think that's a good idea. And so that's it. But I don't really care either way. So I get interested to hear about his past. As long as there are no current feelings, I'm good. Well, you see, Alma, there are 2 kinds of jealousy people feel. There are some types who feel like they're concerned about emotional closeness. And for those types, they're afraid that maybe you had stronger feelings for someone before than for the person that they're with now, you, okay? The other kind of jealousy is sexual jealousy, where you're concerned that they may have had better sex with somebody prior to being with you. I have the second kind of jealousy, not the first kind. I don't worry about her having better feelings with people other than me because, first of all, I'm confident she didn't, and second of all, feelings are just temporary things that don't matter, you know. So,
Oh, head push. Thank you, Pee-Pee. See, she stands by me. She knows that I think that Daddy's my world.
I believe you, Rachel. I believe that you love and appreciate me as I love and appreciate you.
I really do.
We have a very good relationship. So,
speaking of it,
yeah, that's a big part of why we have such a great relationship.
well, yeah.
Because you're yourself.
Yep.
INFJs are tail draggers. We wipe out our tracks. Alan Bryant, well said, sir. Well said. Whereas ENTPs are the world's worst metaphysical litterers. Okay, we just litter constantly.
that picture like says it the best. Like the one with the thoughts inside, and it's like where is this? Oh, that one. And it's like, stop.
That one.
Yeah, but you can't help yourself.
I don't even know what that picture's about.
The light is lovely.
That's what these live streams are. It's just metaphysical litter. So it's like, I don't, the worst thing that Rachel could do to hurt my feelings probably would be to tell me a story about what amazing sex she used to have with Joe, right? That would be extremely hurtful to me. If she were to tell me, Joe and I, we were actually really close and it was really, we had a lot of emotional connection, that wouldn't really bother me.
Well, that's why sometimes when like I heard about like Candace and her ways, I got jealous because I was like, oh my God, like it sounded like this woman just like was on her knees all the time. How the fuck can I compare with that?
I know she was.
I don't know. I'm only listening to live streams and
It took me a
stuff.
second to process. She's on her knees all the time.
Seriously, yeah, like it sounded like.
You know what movie I'm talking about? There's one movie where that guy who he's a comedian kind of guy. He's playing a character with like a bunch of shit on his face sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
He's bald and he's got kind of a reddish beard. There's one movie where he's got this like Stepford wife, and throughout the movie she's always like bringing cookies, and then he'll be like, okay, that's enough, honey, and then she'll come up from underneath the table and stuff.
Yes. Oh my God, I don't remember. But...
Do you anybody know what movie I'm talking about? No, email Anthrax. That's terrible. Of course you can. What, are they not open or something? Are they locked? It should be open. Women have the backhanded insults to use, just waiting to use when they need them. How do you use them? You just go to them. And if there's people there, there's people there. It's like whereby.com/TWFP1
or two.
I'm even more confused about your type. Well, what do you like better, cheese or yogurt? These are important typing questions.
Cheese. Who's more likely to see yogurt? SJs?
I don't know. It's just a random question. Wrong answer, Beetlejuice. Wrong. The correct answer was neither. It was a trick question.
Oh.
Wrong answer, Kyra. Wrong.
He smells delicious.
The correct answer was all of the above.
Oh. Kitty.
Let me see.
Uh-oh, is trouble out there?
No, I don't think that's it. Okay, Mrs. Mom, because I think it's.
Good girl. Good girl. Yes.
I wish I could think of. If I could just think of one movie that guy was in. God, what was his name? Or like, what was he in?
He's red hair.
He's got reddish hair and he's bald.
Like
and
not Louis C.K.
Got a beard. No, but he kind of looks like him a little bit.
I don't know.
He played like really gross characters a lot of times.
Does he?
He was in Cabin Boy.
Oh, he has that annoying. He plays Chris.
I think he was in Cabin Boy.
He plays Chris in Family Guy. That guy.
No. Let me see. Cabin.
Oh,
Boy.
I don't know.
This guy.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Elliott.
Chris Elliott.
Yeah, this guy. Okay. So, Chris Elliott's character with the wife who makes cookies.
I remember that.
I'm putting her Stepford wife.
Maybe it was that movie. What about Chris Elliott movies? He has boils on his face on it's something about Mary.
Is it that one? Chris Elliott. Yeah. Right?
Oh yeah, yes.
There's something about Mary.
Yes. Yeah, he is married, but he still has a crush on
And his
Mary.
wife's like perfect and making cookies and always going down on them all the
Yeah.
time. Right? Why does he have those boils on his face?
Because he breaks out around her. He gets nervous. He's like, you know I get nervous.
Okay, so I guess this has been that movie. Yeah. Yeah, it was that movie. There's something about Mary.
It's a good movie.
In that movie, he's got this wife who just constantly makes cookies and goes down on him. But regardless, the point is, no, I never had that wife.
Okay.
ESFJs, they've got that SI tool function, you know? And the other thing is, my ESFJ wife, I just wasn't very physically attracted to her particularly. And so generally, I think that she sort of, initiated things without me realizing it.
Oh.
She was kind of like, I guess managing that area of stuff. I wasn't thinking about it at all, frankly.
So she was managing that. What?
What?
It was just fun.
I just looked at Fifi, looking at her, licking her leg, and my dad telling me yesterday that we need to get her flea stuff. I watched her scratch herself for like 20 minutes. Why did I bring him up in the first place? I kind of want to see Cabin Boy. Have you ever seen Cabin Boy?
No.
Me neither. How does Cabin Boy do on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever? Let's find out.
Let's find out. Pee is so scared of your dad. It's okay, Pee.
Plot, cast, reception, mixed reviews. 4.95 out of 10.
Oh, that's not. Oh, that's definitely half. Good.
Let me just Google this. Is Cabin Boy a bad film? Worth watching. Hard to watch. It was so awful. This is interesting. This is just so shitty we have to watch it. The beautiful, inspirational disaster of Cabin Boy, 25 years later.
Wow.
How the film turned Chris Elliott into what? The film turned Chris Elliott in his D-plus pan. Former Entertainment Weekly critic Owen Gleiberman opined, Elliott wears his loathsomeness like a cardboard crown. Few comedies have worked this hard to make everyone on the screen look this dumb.
Wow.
John Worcester saw it on an opening day with a few of his friends in Chapel Hill. They all but lost their minds.
What? What's wrong? I know you're nervous about going out there.
It's here that we're going to stop and posit a once unthinkable, now reasonably accepted position. Though flawed, Cabin Boy is a cinematic experience like nothing else, and one that has been extremely important to the development of American comedy. Huh.
So please.
The film holds a mesmerizing power, from the contrast to the serious, surrealistically fake ocean and old-timey garb of Elliot's shipmates. And anachronistic elements like a limo and a microwave that are never commented on. Okay. I think we have to see that film, Rachel.
Yeah, we do. You know, he has a daughter who was on SNL.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Abby Elliott.
So, think about wrapping this up.
What you want, baby?
All right, thank you all for being here. Join us today. Watch Cabin Boy.